had pulled your parachute in that very short jump, would anything bad happen? Okay. Maybe we'll try it next time. Oh, jeez. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to PlayStation Underground. On today's show, we are playing Far Cry 5, which is coming to PS4 next year in February, and I'm joined by Dan Hay, the creative director on Far Cry 5. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited to see this. This is kind of my first time seeing the game in motion. Tell me a little bit about what players can expect.
Well, I think, we're trying to do something different with this Far Cry. I think people have typically thought about Far Cry as taking you far away and taking you to an exotic destination 6,000 miles away, and we thought in this game it would be really interesting to kind of bring it home. And the idea that the thing that's maybe in your backyard or the thing that you really haven't appreciated is different and can give you a completely different experience. So we brought it to America, and we just want to make it feel like there's a part of America that has still got some wilderness and some frontier to it, with really unique people that kind of want to be left alone and live their own life the way that they want to live it. And we thought that Montana was the perfect place to put the game in, so that's what we did.
Perfect. And in this kind of setting of Montana, we have Hope County, which is kind of under siege by this fanatical cult, and you as the hero are, joining the resistance to try and push back and liberate these people.
Exactly. Yep, that's what we built. So as you kind of see this, you're going to see Boomer for the first time. You find yourself in the world. You know that this cult has taken over the space. You're kind of trapped behind cult lines. And what you have to do is basically find people out in the world and build this resistance, and it can start with Boomer the dog or any other person that you meet.
I mean, you have to start with the dog.
Of course.
Is there any other option?
Right.
Man's best friend.
Exactly. Well, we were actually in Montana, and we were hunting, and there was it was kind of the end of the day, and it was getting cold, and the guy that we were with was like, "Don't move." We're like, "Okay." And we watched his dog for like 10 to 12 minutes, and finally, the dog wasn't moving. At the end of it, the dog barked, and this bird went, and he goes, "Always trust your dog." And that's why that's why the dog's in the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
The origin story of Boomer
there you go.
on
That's
PlayStation
Boomer.
Underground.
Yep.
You got more than you asked for, ladies and gentlemen. So tell me a little bit about this setting, because we're about to try and liberate a section of Hope County.
So this is a small community, Falls End, and what you basically got here is that the cult has come in and they've begun this thing called the Reaping, where what they believe is that the end of the world is coming, and that what they need to do is save as many souls as they can, whether they want to be saved or not. So they come in, they take over the town, they begin to take people, they kill some people, and what you have to do is basically liberate that town and take it back. And when you do, it begins to open up other parts of the world, and you can meet different characters, and you begin to discover the open world through these communities.
And I think you guys want to, well, we want to use Boomer, obviously, but also our friend playing here is going to take a slightly more long-range approach at the beginning of this playthrough. And that's one of the principles of Far Cry, right, is that you can play however you want to play, and there's a lot of
360 degrees, right? I mean, we learned that on some of the games that we built in the past, of building a game and building an environment where you can attack it any way you want. In this case, you've got Boomer, who has the ability to actually tag all these characters and be able to help you figure out how you want to attack.
Okay, so now I believe that there's a bet in place where if any death happens on screen that is not the enemy,
yes, exactly,
we beat up the driver.
Yep. Max is going to be in trouble if he dies. We got to watch carefully. So he can attack it any way he wants. And what's cool, though, as you can see, is that what he's able to do now with Boomer is he's able to tag everybody. But what's really cool about Boomer is once you set him loose, he really does become a weapon unto himself, and you can basically kill these guys and begin to take the weapons from them. Let's see what Max does.
And this is the cult on the microphone,
that's
correct?
The father. Mm-hmm. What he does is he actually, he's just taking the guy down. So Boomer's kicked it off, and now he can send Boomer pretty much anywhere.
I think the stealth section is over now.
It's over. Boomer
We've moved into the new chapter.
Yep.
I like that the dog kind of decided when it was time for things to get.
Always trust your dog.
And there's some gun emplacements here to make matters more fun.
Yeah. So Max is he's gonna tear it up. And you can see civilians are actually getting out. I mean, you rescued a couple people just by being able to push back on the cult. They're gonna get in vehicles, they're gonna act like normal people, they're gonna get the hell out of there. And then Boomer's gonna step in. Now reinforcements have showed up. So now you got to think about, all right, how do I spin that plate a little differently? How do I get it so all those guys that showed up in that cult vehicle, maybe you can send Boomer in and basically try and take some of those guys out?
If you had pulled your parachute in that very short jump, would anything bad happen? Okay. Maybe we'll try it next time. Oh, jeez. Perfect. Except for all the smoke.
Yeah.
We can't see.
Go,
Boomer!
Take him down.
Good old reliable Boomer.
Yep.
It seems like if you name your dog Boomer, you're kind of setting the animal up for a certain type of life.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
A life of action and mayhem.
Oh, nice hit.
Which I would not wish upon any real animal.
Right.
I just want to put that on the record.
So there you go.
Liberated.
Yep. Basically
So
took over the
simple.
town. Yeah, it was super cool.
Just because we had Boomer, though. Anyone else, I don't know if it would have gone as smoothly.
Wow, Boomer's super cool. I mean, we really wanted to be able to make it so that we had that experience that we had in Montana of you have a dog, it's your pet, you trust it, and it's a weapon. It's super cool.
And do you gain any access to something once you liberate this area?
For sure.
Another foothold here in the community?
Yeah, so this is a community. We actually built communities in the world so that what you do is you meet real people like Mary May, Pastor Jerome, Nick, and when you meet these sort of community leaders, they're going to tell you about things that are happening out in the world, and that helps you basically follow your nose out into the world and do what you want to do.
Awesome. Dan, this looks amazing.
Cool.
I love seeing it. Far Cry 5 coming to PS4 next year in February.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Right on. Thanks, man.
And
Appreciate
this
it.
was PlayStation Underground. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time.
PlayStation.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to PlayStation Live from E3. Thanks, Ryan, for that great toss. I am joined once again by Dan Hay from Ubisoft Montreal. You are the creative director on Far Cry 5.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me. Sid, thank you for joining me as well. So we just saw the playthrough that you and I just did recently where we showed off Boomer the dog in Far Cry 5. Now we're going to be looking at a different gun for hire. First of all, tell me a little bit about it. What do we got going on today?
Well, we want to make sure that when people sort of explore the world, they have the opportunity to use different guns for hire. So we gave you Boomer for sure, but we also want to be able to give you the ability to fly and the ability to take this plane and strafe if you want. So we have this character in the world named Nick Rye. And he's quite a character. He's basically got this plane and he's fitted it with this giant gun. And you get this plane and you can start to use him as a guns for hire. You can call him, he can strafe. He's got a hell of a personality.
Okay.
He'll show up and cause some trouble. And basically what he likes to do is blow shit up. That's what he's good at. So you give him a call and that's exactly what he does.
Are you saying that a character in a Far Cry game has a big personality?
Yes, I am.
I don't believe you.
It's shocking, I understand.
It's nonsense. It sounds like nonsense. But you know what? We didn't even get a chance to talk about in this segment kind of the setting for Far Cry 5. So different from the rest of the series. I know we're going to go to the footage soon, so go to the footage, guys. But until we go there, tell me a little bit about why Montana.
Well, take a look at it. I mean, it's beautiful. We actually went there, and we just kind of discovered it and fell in love with it. The thing is that for us, we know that Far Cry has typically been about putting you on a plane 6,000 miles away and giving you somewhere exotic. But we said, what if we could do that kind of at home? What if we could let you explore the things that you already know and make that feel a little bit twisted and interesting? How do you do it? And in this case, what you're seeing is the cult, which we built, has actually taken over this small town of Falls End. You're looking at it, getting a sense of what you got to do. And what we wanted to do is give you the tools, the weapons, and the people to be able to build this resistance and then fight back.
Awesome. So I actually have community questions, Sid. Can you believe it? Dan, get ready.
All right, I'm ready.
You already know what these are. Oversoul Gaming wanted to know, this is the first Far Cry game I'm really interested in. Will it be newcomer friendly? Is it more focused on action or stealth?
It's a great question. I think that from the standpoint of it being newcomer friendly for sure, right? We definitely want to be able to make it so that if you played a Far Cry before, you're going to be able to pick this up and go, okay, I get, oh, that's different. Wait a minute, this surprise. But if you've never played a Far Cry before, it's a great opportunity for you to pick it up and to be able to experience it for the first time because we're building a story that you author, right? Gone are the days of the linear story. What we want to be able to make it is that you can go in any direction, meet any character, and be able to imbibe in the action bubbles that you want to do. So for sure, it's completely friendly.
Good. Well, he asked a good question then.
That's great.
Go ahead.
What's your next one?
Philippe wants to know, is the wingsuit back? Missed it a lot in Primal.
I don't even know if I'm allowed.
Primal is.
Wait, you're just like sew together a bunch of fur skins or like just fly.
It's not like we didn't talk about it, but the question was that I don't honestly know if I'm allowed to talk about the wingsuit. You know what? Fuck it. Yes, it's back.
Okay.
And what's cool about it is that we didn't just we didn't just put in the wingsuit, we actually built a character that's this legendary stuntman that's from Montana, our character.
Awesome.
And when you do a lot of this stuff with the wingsuit and other things that you do that are stunts in the world, you're actually paying homage to him, and you can unlock stuff based off his personality from like the 1960s and the 1970s.
That was a PlayStation Live for me.
There you go.
Heard it here first.
There you go.
I'm sure Dan's colleagues are just over the moon.
Exclusive.
And you know, I know we're already a little bit through the demo here, Dan, but we didn't really talk about the father and the cult yet. But that's obviously a huge point in Far Cry 5. It's sort of the antagonist of the series.
Yeah, I think people know that we've worked really hard, and when you think about it from the standpoint of Far Cry 3 and Boss, and Far Cry 4 and the things that we did with Peg and Min, there's an expectation the bar set very, very high. So we said, how do we build someone who's truly interesting, truly magnetic? How do we make it so that they have control over people? How do we make it so that they have an ethos? And so we started to cobble together this idea of the father. And then we started to think about, okay, who do we get to play this? And we got a lot of interesting options in terms of casting. And then we found a guy by the name of Greg Brick, who is unbelievable. And this guy is spooky. He's a fantastic actor. He came in, he's playing our father. And the thing about him is that when you meet him, he was the one actor that I met that I actually believed he could bring me into a cult. And that was all the difference. Plus, he doesn't blink, and it's really spooky.
Like at all?
At all. It's weird, yeah.
That's another exclusive.
Yeah.
Wait, really though? Does he have like eye drops that he's
No. He's just intense. He's really, he's really good at his craft, and he's intense. And when he brings the father, he brings it all.
That's amazing.
And Dan, this is amazing because compared to the footage we were just seeing, our driver here is it's so much different from what we were seeing before.
Different game
different pathways through, different encounters.
That's what we wanted, and it wasn't just in terms of a single area. I mean, we want that for all the regions in the game. That you're going to meet different communities, you're going to have different guns for hire, different opportunities, that you can attack it. I mean, Far Cry has been about freedom, opportunity, and surprise, and that's what we bring.
And these partners, these co-op partners are available for co-op play as well, right?
Well, what we do is we wanted to be able to make it that we had 3 basic systems for this. You have guns for hire, so you've got people like Nick, people like Grace.
Got it.
You've got fangs for hire, people or animals like Boomer, and other
people,
animals. Other animals that I can't talk about, but I desperately want to. And then you also have co-op, and you've got friends for hire. And we make it part of this big system so that when you go out into the for hire system and go out in the world, the anecdote factory pushes back.
Awesome.
I mean, I heard
we're almost out of time, Sid.
To other animals, I mean, could it be a moose? Could it be something? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
There's no time for moose.
All right, I'll be quiet.
Dan, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Cheers,
Thank you so much for coming on. That was Far Cry 5 coming to PS4. Dan, such a pleasure. And of course, we have so much more coming up today from PlayStation Live from E3. Stay with us.
PlayStation